I'm about to show you how much I made from SMMA in 2 years and how to maximize your profits. And if you don't already know me, my name is Jared Carter. I built 2 7-figure agencies with my partner Matt Shields. And gurus only want to talk about revenue and never break down their actual profit. And by the end, you're going to have the rules that I follow to increase profitability and learn from the costly mistakes that I made. So let's skip the fluff. This is going to be super raw and I'm going to break it all down on a Google Doc. I'm going to open up my P&L and my tax returns because after being an SMA for 5 years and grossing millions, I have the data to show you how much you can actually make and how much you should really be making. And I think the number might surprise you, so let's go ahead and dive in. So here's one of my tax returns for just 1 year, one of the agencies for $2.2 million. Now, I've been doing SMA for a little over 5 years now, but this is all specifically for just one agency. So the one agency that I was running for the 3-year period, we did about $4.8 million, and it was really like 2.5 years to be honest, but $4.8 million in top line revenue. Guys, at the end of the day, a lot of gurus out there, they all talk about revenue, but revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash flow is reality. And once the industry starts to realize that, it's the day when a lot more people are going to have a lot more money. As you can see, this is one of our Amex bills, and this is just 1 month. We paid it off every single month, so it's not like this stacked up over time. This was $104,000 Amex bill, and that was pretty common, to be honest with you, for any given month. So as you can imagine, there was a lot of expenses with running this, and that's what most people just don't talk about. They don't talk about the actual profit, which is what we're going to be diving in. So just to sum it all up, guys, we really wasted a lot of money in the beginning, and as time went on, our revenue shrunk, but profit went up. Profit is king. And honestly, I wouldn't even say we waste it, right? In the beginning of any business, you're going to spend more than you necessarily want to. You're not going to profit as much because there's ignorance debt. There's also just investment on stuff that you have to make, and you're not going to see those returns for some time. So let's go ahead and break down the biggest categories for our spend. So on advertising alone, it was about 25% of our total top line revenue for the average time that we were running the agency, where we made $4.8 million, or we grossed $4.8 million. Then on labor, it was 29.65%, almost 30%. We spent about $1.4 million on labor, right? So yeah, Matt and I made some good money with the agency, but we also made our team a lot of money. I mean, we paid out $1.4 million just in payroll alone in the couple of years of running the agency. That's not small numbers, guys. And then on top of that, for software, it was 4.5% at $215K. So I highlighted the orange, the things where I think we could have cut back on, and the green is things where I think that was fine. There's not much we could have optimized for. We might have saved a little bit here and there. But once again, it was only 4.5%. The next biggest cost was probably payment processing, which is obviously about 3 to 4%, depending on what you look at. So 59% of all revenue, 59.15% of all revenue, just in these 3 expenses. That's not even including all the miscellaneous stuff, and not even mentions taxes, right? And this is the master sheet, so you guys know that I'm not just pulling these numbers out of thin air, and everything is broken down in here. Our bookkeeper kept really accurate books, so we know exactly how much we spent down to the single cent, and that's how I can break down all these numbers for you guys. If you don't have any accurate bookkeeping for your agency, trust me, you guys need that. All right, so this is where I think we should have been, right? For advertising, we probably should have been around 15 to 20%. The big chunk of this 25%, it was in the very beginning when we were just trying to scale the agency really, really fast, right? But 15 to 20% in advertising, that advertising spend did come down over time. Labor should have been about 20% max. I don't think we needed to get up to 30% labor. I think that's really excessive. And we would have saved 15 to 20%. That would have been an additional $720,000 in added profit just to our pockets, to Matt and I each. That's not chump change, right? That could buy us a Lambo or two, right? So that's how much added profit we could have had. So hopefully this helps you guys out to know where your number should be as you guys are growing your agencies, and maybe you guys could buy a Lambo and let me ride in it for a day. All right, let's break down some caveats, right? Rapid growth and hands-off/time savings versus slow growth/hands-on. Don't be afraid to invest, right? We wanted to grow fast. We wanted it to be hands-off. We kind of built this agency with a profit number in mind, and we've honestly maintained that. We hit that profit number, right? If we could do better, we would love to, but this is the profit number we actually expected. When you have a somewhat automated agency, you're going to deal with the profit number that I'm going to show you
what we actually achieve. And it's just that's just typical, right? So you can't be afraid to invest. I actually wouldn't want that extra $720,000 in profit, because that meant I would have to probably do a lot more work in the agency, which I didn't want to do. And also, these are unrealized gains. When you're investing in your business, you have to let some things compound, right? So the marketing that we went really aggressive on early in the beginning, we may not have reaped those rewards for a couple years because we have leads that have to be nurtured and brand that continues to have to be built, but we've already captured those contact information. So it's just a matter of time that they purchase, right? For example, team, right? We're recruiting a lot of team members in the beginning, and recruitment costs aren't cheap if you're recruiting A players, right? So all the recruitment, all the time kissing a bunch of frogs so you find your Prince Charming and you find the right hires, right? That all takes money. That all takes investment. Over time, there's like a curve, and eventually that revenue number will probably stay about the same, but the profit number will start to go up because you get to you have all that compounded investments that you did earlier on, right? So over time, you'll build a strong team. Once again, you're not going to have to pay recruiters. Churn's going to improve over time. You can lower ad spend and increase LTV, right? You start to reach economies of scale as you have more and more clients, which improves your profits, and a percentage goes down, but profit actually goes up, right? So my profit percentage may go down, but I could be making more money if I'm scaling more rapidly, if that makes sense, right? So if I scale my agency to 400,000, but my profit margin goes down to 20%, versus if I kept my agency at 100,000, but my profit margin is still 30%. Yes, the 100,000 agency has 10% more profit, but the 400,000 agency has less of a margin percentage, but overall the actual profit number itself is way larger, right? Which at the end of the day, that's probably the most important thing. All right. So most beginner agency owners, they stack cash and they never deploy it. That's fine if this is just a money grab for you. If you don't care about building a sellable agency or learning real business skills, I should say skills. I guess I should learn a skill too on how to spell. But based on my personal experiences, right, you need to invest, and you need to be willing for the margin percentage to actually go down, right? I tried to get a picture in here for a scaling curve to kind of demonstrate this. I'll probably put one in the comments for you guys because I couldn't find the picture that I actually wanted to use. So in the agency, we, over the 2-ish years that we ran it, we pretty much did about $1,020,849 in profit. That's not SDE, right? That's not our seller discretionary earnings or adjusted EBITDA, which basically adds back, your salary. It adds back any, travel expense. Like for example, Matt and I probably put like 10, 20 grand a year on travel on the agency account, right? In the beginning, we put our food on it, right? So like you have all these personal expenses that add up that have to be added back, that, that's benefit to the owner. It's owner's benefits that you kind of have to factor in as part of the profit. So when we look at our adjusted EBITDA for these 2 years and we add everything back, it came out to about $1.18 million. So about $1.2 million over the course of the 2-year period. Let me break one other thing down. That's basically about 25% net overall for an automated agency, right? Over time, as we begin to run the agency, it started moving closer to a 30, 35, 40% net margin. But in the beginning, right, we spent a lot of money. We invested a lot of money. Our margin was definitely a lot lower, but we were scaling. And sometimes that's just required to get to that level, to learn a lot. And to be honest, for the amount of time Matt and I put in the agency, this was pretty good. I mean, there were some times where honestly, we were probably doing like an hour, 2 hours a week in terms of just meetings, but we were never doing any of the actual work. And that's what we wanted. Everyone's different. Could we have ran this agency and gotten an extra, and we could have gotten 50% in net margin? Yeah, 100%. But at what cost? It just wasn't worth our time. There were other things we wanted to do, and agency wasn't our big play. So we were happy with this. And that's what you can really expect if you're trying to run an automated agency. If you're trying to be more hands-on, you could probably do about 40 to 50% margin, sometimes even higher, depending on how hands-on you want to be. It all really depends on your goals and what you're trying to achieve. But hopefully this helps and adds some transparency in this internet world of flexing without any real numbers to back anything up. So hopefully we achieved that for you guys today. We showed a lot of transparency, and that's all I got.
And that's how you can add $1 million cash to your bank account in just 2 years. Now, I know this can feel overwhelming and you might feel lost or confused about what you're doing. So if you want to increase your revenue, your profit, and scale your agency to multiple 7 figures without doing it on hard mode, using the exact same model that has helped hundreds of agency owners reach 6 and 7 figures, even in competitive niches, then click the link in the description to see how I can help you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!